when I talk about, when we talk about cannabis culture, we need to get a little more varied in our thoughts there. Like, a lot of people just think of, the existing cannabis culture, people who enjoy cannabis together, and there's a lot of stereotypes involved there. And but it's, I think that we need to think about it broader, and that cannabis culture from a wide spectrum of variables, from society's relationship with cannabis, the different aspects of society. Like, why aren't more cannabis brands trying to forge partnerships with like healthcare associations, and to, why aren't we seeing
It,
more brands
it's
engage with their local communities to facilitate these education gaps in a way that resonates with them? That's where the target
I
audience
I
comes in,
think I
being
think
clear on.
there's yeah, I think there's some fear there. I remember in the very early days, Washington State, which is where I'm from, and I also have a license to practice in California and have been down there a lot as well. But mostly I'm in Washington these days. And in the early days of legalization, I was the sponsoring state senator, Senator Colwell's, was a brave woman who brought this legislation forth. And my association, the Naturopathic Medical Association, brought me into one of the behind the scenes political meeting with the medical board, with the nursing board, with the osteopathic board, and us little old naturopaths that people don't really even know about. And there was a pretty heated discussion in there about the medical aspect of cannabis at that time. And I think what won the day for us there was not me bringing the science to the table, but bringing the storytelling aspect to the table. And that the politicians and the aides in the room saw that this was a positive way forward, that there was a positive way for change. Fast forward, maybe a year or so, and the law was getting ready to be processed, and companies were going to start opening up for the first time. And Willie Nelson's brand formed a company to explore entry into the Washington market. And I worked very extensively with that team. And we looked at everything from packaging to products to product development. And I developed 4 medical products for them. We developed a pain-oriented product, a sleep-oriented product. I believe it was an anxiety-oriented product, and I think it was a topical. But there were 4 products that we looked at. And in the end, the brand decided to completely not do medical at all. And I wasn't surprised, because I could see the writing on the wall, where the thought process was everybody was going to move into the recreational, and then people could just get their stuff at the dispensary recreationally, and the medical people could too. So but what I see, and I don't get into dispensaries much anymore these days, but I have spent a lot of time in there, and both on the consumer side and just watching and helping out, I see a lot of patients with medical questions, and especially the boomers and the elderly folks. That is not the experience that makes them feel good about what they're doing. And those particular segments can be very loyal return customers. They won't even go explore another dispensary if you are on if you bring these customers in. They tend to be very loyal and almost a habitual type of a customer. So anyway, that's my little 22 cents on that. I don't know if that brings anything up for you, Gregory, if that resonates for you in any way.
Yeah, it makes me think about the storytelling gaps that are happening at the retail level, where a lot of times people walk into the dispensary and it's extremely overwhelming. Oh, my camera fell down. And I've heard this in a lot of places, this mentality, the turnover with dispensary staff is so high. Why invest in training my people so heavily in cannabis education? And obviously dispensary staff, usually the bud tenders are not physicians, but I think that if you look at that as another storytelling opportunity, what's the story when someone walks into this place, right? And I think that also comes to, we talked earlier about knowing your target audience. And I think the first thing that operators can start doing here is talking to their current customers. I internally identifying the questions that they want to ask, and getting input from people and syncing on those, and then talking to them and recording those conversations and synthesizing all that into customer persona profiles. And you have your primary target audience, that's where a lot of your positioning comes through in your website, and it ought to impact your positioning on the retail floor as well, and how you're engaging with people. And that's another challenge a lot of brands have, is with customer loyalty in this space. Most of them just go through, current customers just go through Leafly or LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, or Weed Maps, and that's how they're finding the product they want.
I don't smoke weed anymore, but I have a lot of experience smoking cannabis. I only really resonate with two brands that have ever stuck in my brain. And one is the Willie Nelson brand, largely because of his fame and his famousness, and because I worked for them, and the Mike Tyson brand. I honestly, if you had to ask me, as a guy who's been to some dispensaries and used a few products, the brands aren't even sticking in my brain. And I'm a professional in the industry. And so what does that say about the stories that are being told? I mean, I understand the products, pre-rolls, gummies, concentrates, etc., blah, blah, blah. But honestly, I think that the branding, and I even have been querying my friends lately, what's your favorite dispensary? Oh, I like the one on this, that, or the other place. Do you know what it's called? Most of them don't even know the name of the dispensary that they go to most of the time. They just know where it is. So the branding is atrocious.